a mistake can cause you. Now the question is, let's see whether Ricky Waters had possession. And I'm not so sure.
It doesn't look it, but it's really not going to make a bit of difference now. Those officials' arms went up in the air, and that's all that matters.
Austin Robbins, who was a 4th-round pick out of North Carolina last year, with his first NFL touchdown. And Eddie Anderson made the hit to cause the fumble, and the kickoff by Ford. Charlie Garner returning. And Garner with a somersault tackled at the 31-yard line. And the answer to today's Aflac trivia question is, who's the last Raider to rush for 1,000 yards in a single season? And the answer, Marcus Allen, 1,759 yards in 85. Not surprising that it was Allen, but surprising that it was 10 years ago, Matt.
Absolutely, and I remember that year, and he led the league that year. Not a bad player, Marcus Allen.
And still going strong. First down at the 31. Game is tied at 17. Pass up the middle to Ed West, and his first catch of the day. Tight end. Mike Jones making the tackle with 1:20 remaining. And a hurry-up offense for the Eagles, who still have 2 timeouts remaining. Again, the pass. And it's incomplete. It was intended for Kelvin Martin, and that'll stop the clock.
That was a catchable ball. That ball was right where it had to be.
Well, coming up on the Doctors halftime, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will all have the scores and highlights from around the NFL, and that's all coming up on the Doctors halftime. Well, last week the Eagles squandered a 14-0 lead against the Chargers in the first half. They had a 17-0 lead in the first quarter today, and have seen that lead disintegrate. 2nd and 10. Cunningham, nowhere to go, is sacked for the 4th time. And that'll be the 3rd for Swilling.
And nowhere to go and nowhere to throw. There was nobody out there to throw the ball to. It's one thing when you start saying, you know, he didn't get the ball off, but it's another thing when there's no place to throw the football.
Loss of 7 yards.
And watch the coverage. He's going to go back and he's going to look downfield. You got a 3-receiver route, 4 back underneath. Now look, there's no place to go. Coverage here, safety here, and this. There's nowhere to go. So the only thing you can do is either eat it or take off and run. You know, then you're back inside and you run a stunt with Chester McLaughlin. And he just comes around, and then Swilling does a nice job of staying with the stunt and pushing it inside and gets the sack.
Timeout called by the Eagles. They are left with 1 here in the first half with 1:05 showing, and so the Eagles are the team stunned, and the crowd very much in this game as the Raiders have staged a terrific rally here in the first half. Cunningham has been sacked 4 times, knocked down once, so he has been under pressure by the Raider defensive line. It'll be 3rd down and 16, and wouldn't be surprised ultimately if the Raiders situation, they will have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. 3 wide receivers line up for the Eagles. Cunningham. Is caught at the 45-yard line by Calvin Williams, his second catch.
Was a heck of a throw by Cunningham. Calvin Williams, he threw that thing down and away, and Calvin Williams had to go between 2 defenders to make that catch.
I wonder whether that was almost on the back foot as he let go of that ball.
Well, he can throw this thing off his head. It doesn't matter. You can't throw this thing any better. Look at this. Right in between the defenders. Hoskins can't get there. Down and away. That's an outstanding play. Calvin Martin is going to break down inside, right in between the safety and the corner, down nice and low where it has to be.
Eagles use up their last timeout of the first half. They'll have a first down at the Raider 45-yard line, and still within position of perhaps getting the last chance for a field goal and maybe one shot at the end zone before this half is over.
That was a huge play. I mean, that was a monster. Because now here you are looking at maybe 4th down where you got a kick and they have 3 timeouts. And the transition from there to a 1st down at the 45 going in is a monster play.
And that 1st down was the only 1st down the Eagles had managed here in the 2nd quarter. Again, 3 wide receivers. And a slant into Calvin Williams. He's got it inside the 40. Clock is running. Gain of 6.
Those are some tough throws Cunningham to make. I mean, those things are the only place they could be.
He's played a good first half. Nearly half a minute to go, and they go underneath to Ed West with his 2nd catch. And the hurry-up continues with under a half a minute to go. And now we'll have a officials stoppage of the clock. And now we're off again. Cunningham, 9 of 11, 95 yards. And now Cunningham stops the clock with 18 seconds remaining. Well, on Tuesday, Fox presents a world premiere motion picture. Married with Children's Ed O'Neill brings together some of the greatest minds on earth to try and unlock the secrets of the future. But sometimes knowing too much can kill you. Don't miss Weird World on the Fox Tuesday night movie. Parental discretion advised. That haunting music.
Is that what that was?
Foreboding music.
Foreboding. I like 5-boding music. There's foreboding, or foreshadow, or 94.
Ray Rhodes will have 4 wide receivers in the game. Barnett, Williams, Martin, and Carpenter on 2nd and 10. Eagles out of timeouts. And Cunningham off his back foot going for Calvin Williams, and the ball is incomplete. It was grabbed, but out of bounds by Terry McDaniel.
Yeah, he just threw that thing away. Hey, I'm impressed right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. They were just getting everything going wrong for them, and they just turned around. And one big play, all of a sudden, boom, you snap your confidence right back. And you can see it in the offensive line picking things up right now, and Cunningham with those throws.
Both teams have had the ability to rebound after they've been knocked to the canvas in this game.
Yeah, the emotional roller coaster. It's really tough for the away team, especially back in Oakland where the fans are right on top of you.
They were that way with you when you came to the stadium today. Welcome home, Matt. 3rd down and 10. Cunningham going to the sideline to Calvin Williams. Couldn't handle that high toss. And that'll bring up 4th down.
And that was that was a throw that he had time to make in front of Najee Mustafa. And the thing was, he had the time, he had the nice protection, and the ball just got away from him. Gary
Anderson, who has 1 field goal today from 30 yards. He has missed one from 51 this year, and this will be also a 51-yard attempt with 11 seconds remaining in the first half. Now, if that penalty is against the Eagles, that would very well perhaps knock them out of field goal range. And Ed Hockley indicates that it is against the Eagles.
Ball start by the offense, the left guard. 5-yard penalty remains 4th down.
That's Guy McIntyre. He signaled the left guard.
You watch right inside here. Joe Pano, 72. Yeah, he jumped. There is no excuse for that, ever. The ball is right in front of you. You don't work off the defender, you work off the ball.
That's going to make Gary Anderson's task that much more difficult. This will be a 56-yard attempt.
This is blocking area right here. Different trajectory of the ball.
And the kick is going to be short. If it had been 51, and Anderson might have made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how much Anderson missed it. So the penalty cost the Eagles 3 points.
Now this is probably about as far as Anderson can kick it. Yeah, he had that 5 yards tacked on. He had a chance of making that one.
7 seconds remain in the half, and the Raiders will take over on their own 45.
But I got to tell you, that Ray Rhodes got to feel good about the way they finished this half. Even though you missed the kick, you moved it, you made some big plays, you got your offense back together, and so he'll feel good about working on something going into the half.
I mean, here's his team leading 17-0. Shades of a week ago, blowing the lead, and then fighting and very nearly regaining it. As Al Davis looking on. Came to practice Thursday in El Segundo, one of his rare appearances up in the Los Angeles area to watch the Raiders practice. First down on the 46. Four wide receivers, three lined up to the right. Hostetler gets away from trouble, and down he goes. And William Fuller will pick up the sack on Hostetler. And slow getting up is Fuller. He was a top pass rusher last year with 9.5, and he is hurting.
They need him. He's their only legitimate pass rusher they have.
1 second showing on the clock. That is the first quarterback sack of the day by Philadelphia.
He's just working. He makes Gogan miss, and then Romanowski misses it, and then he just comes down and just gets a touch. But heck, I have no idea how that one hurt, unless it's a hamstring or something like that.
Of course, that's the hardest part of that field, obviously, the dirt infield.
I mean, he wasn't torqued or anything like that. That was Mamula who missed him, not Romanowski.
Well, that's the end of the first half. The score, the Eagles and Raiders tied at 17. Stay tuned for the Dockers halftime as Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station. Because he'll have a chance to run the offense first. Rocket Ismail, who has averaged 25 yards on 3 kick returns. That's a season's high for him. And Gary Anderson kicking off, and it's going to Napoleon Kaufman inside the 10-yard line. On the dirt, and Kaufman is dropped shy of the 25-yard line, a 17-yard return.
See, we talked about how they're throwing the football and how they're throwing it deep, and you can see they've only tried one pass over 15 yards. I mean, everything is down inside, and I think philosophically this is completely different than the Raiders have ever been. And there's one thing about running that offense like the 49ers run, but the 49ers still take their shot down the field. These guys have not taken it, and I think that's a departure, because the old days, you just took your shot and you make people adjust to you.
First down on the 25-yard line. Daniel Stubbs is in for Fuller, who is expected to return for the Eagles. Hostetler on a screen pass to Harvey Williams on the first play, and Williams with a great run. Remember, he scored the touchdown on the second effort, and this time gets 29 big yards, most of it after the catch, before the safeties make the tackle.
Well, credit Kerry Cash on a pick right here on Bill Romanowski. Watch 53 Romanowski. Cash is going to take him, and then he's just going to, right there, see that was on the other left side of your screen. That opened the whole thing wide open, and then they can't get out, and then what happens, Harvey Williams getting to the secondary, you just can't stay up with him.
29 yards.
There is Cash, came over from Indianapolis, one of 2 big tight ends the Raiders have. First down in Eagle territory at the 46-yard line, and here's Williams trying to go outside, gets past Romanowski, and finally Mark McMillan runs him out of bounds, but the Raiders moving the ball impressively in their first possession here. That was an 8-yard gain for Williams, who had 8 carries and 25 yards and a score in the first half.
You know, they start pounding inside between those 3 big inside people of the Raiders, and then what that does is that opens your outside game for Harvey Williams. So he'll stick it up, and boom, now he bounces it outside. You've drawn your defense in.
Kaufman is now at the running back position. The tailback at 2nd and 2. And Napoleon Kaufman isn't going to get it. May lose a yard as he tried to test the middle of the line to no avail. Mike Mamula.
A nice job by Gunn at the point, and the backers sticking up. They really haven't run power football on the Eagles. What they've done is they stretch them out, and they've hit a couple things off tackles, start inside and bounce it outside.
It'll be 3rd and short as the big wide receiver threats come out of the game.
The Eagles are in disarray right now where they're at with the personnel.
2 tight ends in there. Benner is lined up as a tight end on the right wing. 3rd down and 1. Hostetler will throw out of this formation, and it's a first down. That was Cash, one of the 2 tight ends in there, and the Raiders are close.